Here we will see insert into statement in SQL Server. First is insert values to all columns. To insert values to all columns of a table, you don't need to specify the column names with the table name. Just specify the values for each column in a sequence as they appear in the table. General syntax is insert into table name and then values for column 1, column 2, etc. Where table name is the name of the target table that the rows will be inserted into, and column 1 value, column 2 value are the values that will be assigned to the mentioned columns in the target table based on the provided order. Any change in the sequence, the number of values or its data type may result in an error or incorrect data. For example, insert into customer and values are given in the bracket. If the data type is string, mention the data in single quote. Next is insert values to specific columns. To insert data into specific columns, specify the column name in the parentheses. Make sure other columns allows null values, otherwise an error will be raised. General syntax is insert into table name with column name, column 1, column 2, and then values for the column 1 value, column 2 value. Here table name is the name of the target table that the rows will be inserted into. The column 1, column 2 are the name of the columns, and column 1 value and column 2 value are the values that will be assigned to the mentioned columns in the target table based on the provided order. You must insert data to all not null columns, otherwise it will raise an error. For example, insert into employees, then column name, first name, last name, and the values are given as James Bond, where James is the first name column value and Bond is the last name column value. Next is insert multiple records. You can insert multiple records in a single insert into statement by having multiple records in parentheses after values. General syntax is insert into table name, then values, and specify the column value 1, column value 2, then again column value 1, column value 2, and so on. You can separate the column values by using commas. Here table name is the name of the target table that the rows will be inserted, and column 1 value and column 2 value are the values that will be assigned to the mentioned columns in the target table based on the provided order. For example, insert into customer and then specify the records that you want to insert. To insert multiple records into specific columns, specify the column names in the parentheses. General syntax is insert into table name, then column name as first name, last name, and values as column value 1, column value 2, then separate by comma, and again column value 1, column value 2. For example, insert into employee, then first name, last name are the name of the columns, and then values, and specify the values. Here we will execute the insert into queries. So first we will open the query editor and then we will use the database where our table is resides. Here my table is present under database project 1. So I will use that project 1 first. So use project 1 and I will execute. So database is changed to project 1. Then first we will execute the command insert into all columns. So here in comment I will write insert into all columns, and I will write the query insert into employee, and I will specify the values. Here structure of the employee table is as employee ID, first name, last name, then email, address, city, state and zip code. So I will mention here values as first I will give employee ID, then first name, then last name, then email address, then address, then city, then state and zip code. Then I will close this bracket. Here the string data is given in single quote, and I will execute this query. It will give the message one row affected. To check whether the data is inserted or not, we will use select statement. So select star from employee. To execute this single command, we will select this and I will execute it. It will display the record for the first employee. Then we will see insert into specific columns. So here I will give the insert into command. So insert into employee, and here I will mention the column names. So first name and last name, and then I will give the values for these two columns as James Bond, and I will complete the bracket. To execute this query, I will select this and I will execute it. It will display one row affected. Then I will execute this select query. It will display two records, but the data is present in only first name and last name, since we have mentioned the column first name and last name with insert query. Then we will see insert multiple records. For this, first I will give the statement insert into employee, and I will give the values for all the columns. Then I will give second value, that is value for second record. To insert multiple records, I will give values and the values for first row and second row, and then I will execute this by selecting this query. It will display message 2 rows affected. To check this, I will execute select query. It will display 2 records for employee ID 2 and 3 that we have inserted here. And then we will see insert multiple records in specific columns. So here we will give insert statement, insert into employee. Here I will mention the column names, so first name and last name, and I will specify the values for first name and last name. I will give here comma and I will execute this. It will display message 2 rows affected. I will again execute this select query. It will display next 2 records for record number 5 and 6. That is, first we have checked insert into all columns, then insert into specific columns, then insert multiple records and insert multiple records in specific columns.